Hello, I'm Norris, head of football at Atavus. For the last 3 days, we've been talking about how to maximize power and control. Yesterday, we introduced positive tackle situations, and that's recognizing that you're in a position to knock the runner backwards. It takes good body position, proper strike timing, and effective finish to be able to do that. We've been talking about the strike, but today we're going to talk about the finish, and we're going to do that by focusing on footwork into contact. In this example, you're going to see the tackler make contact with same foot, same shoulder. That's great. But we want him to time it where he's on his toe and he has his hips over his knees so he can get the easy hip extension and drive the runner backwards. We also want him to time that punch up where he has that loaded shoulder so he can keep his shoulders square into contact. Now, there's two mistakes that players make when they get in this position. One of them is they tend to shoot too early. That means they get their hips out over their knees. When they do that, they've lost control of themselves as well as the runner. This leads to missed tackles and, more importantly, it exposes them to injury. Here's an example of a safety fitting down in a run. He targets the runner fine, but he times his hit poorly. It's because of his footwork that he's unable to get same foot, same shoulder into contact. And because of that, he gets his hips out over his knees, and when he makes contact with the runner, he can't control him. When this happens, we want to be able to help that defender by giving him something to help him be more confident in contact and knowing what he needs to do. The second mistake is late strike timing, and this is the most common. That's where they have their hips behind their knees. This is when they delay their hit and they lose power in the hit, and then it makes it difficult to transfer their weight and momentum through contact. And because of this, they give up extra yards. Here's another example of the safety fitting down in the alley. He targets the runner fine. He gets there, and he just doesn't initiate contact. We want him to recognize that he's in a positive tackle situation so he can anticipate when to time his hit. We want him on his toes with his hips out over his knees so he wins that point of contact. He doesn't do that. We don't want that. In this example here, you have tacklers showing a good example of footwork into contact. They time their hit with their foot on their toe, hip over the knees, and a great punch into contact. The live version of this is really physical, and we want it to be because we're trying to develop confidence in contact. In this last example, you're going to see a linebacker take an effective path to the runner. He closes space properly. He times up his hit, same foot, same shoulder. He gets on his toe. You'll see his hips are over his knees, and he punches into contact. And because of that, he has an easy finish, and that's what we want. We want the play to end. And so in this last drill, that we're going to do today, all of this is getting talked about, but the piece that we're talking about the most is the finish. We want you to focus on the footwork. Be focused and stay safe.
The strike timing drill is a fundamental tackling drill. The purpose of the drill is to focus on the technique and timing for a proper power step and near shoulder strike into contact. The drill teaches players how to time the footwork and the punch to help maximize power and control. Let's take a look. For the setup, place athletes in pairs 10 yards apart. Set each pair up about 5 yards from each other to avoid accidental contact. The coach will then give instructions to the offense and defense on the direction of the drill. Now that you've seen the setup, let's walk through the drill. On go, the offense takes 2 steps forward, and then he will head in a 45-degree angle in the direction the coach designated before the drill begins. The defense will close space by gathering his feet with short, choppy steps. The defense will then execute a power step by placing his near foot in a planted position on his toe as close as possible to the offensive player. He then executes a simultaneous punch and strike using the shoulder as primary contact. The defense should punch past the offensive player and finish with a proper wrap and squeeze while continuing his leg drive. Here it is slowed down from a different angle. And here it is again. Be sure to emphasize these key coaching points. The defense needs to have his elbows in and tight to the chest for a proper punch. The defender's near foot power step should be placed close to the offensive player. The defender should strike with his near shoulder as primary contact. As the defender makes contact, he must continue to drive his legs forward.